What's up? It's Filthy Casual. So, breaking news as of yesterday night, Donovan Mitchell is being not included in trade talks, but the Utah Jazz, are listening to trade requests from other teams for Donovan Mitchell. So they're hearing trade packages with Donovan Mitchell in it, and nobody on their team is untouchable now. I also heard that it's not like they are actively pursuing a trade, and I've also heard that the asking price would be very high. So that certainly limits the number of teams. However, we do also have to consider what you are going to get if you're trading for Donovan Mitchell, right? So I have the stats on the screen there. He's a 3-time All-Star, all rookie teams, not made an All NBA. He's played about he's played 70 games pretty much every year, just about, except for 2020 2021, which was the bubble year, I believe. So, you know, you get a little bit of slack there. Everybody missed time on that season. So you're getting a consistently healthy shooting guard, 3-time All-Star who averages 25 points per game on good efficiency, not great efficiency, but good efficiency, like around league average, a little bit better than league average, as it's improved pretty much every year. He is not the greatest passer, but he can pass. And this is Donovan Mitchell, right? So now so thinking about like the teams that would be calling, the most obvious team is the Knicks. So if we look at the Knicks assets as far as like what we could feasibly trade and what the Jazz would want, we would probably have to include pretty much most of the picks that we have. Um, so the picks that we have the 3 picks that we got from the other trade, from the draft night trades, where we got the 3 firsts that are protected. They're protected up to post lottery, so they're pretty. I think it's up to 15th. So those are all. There's three of those picks, and then the Knicks have all of our picks. So it's kind of not great. So why is this doing that? Okay, cool. So beyond that, the Knicks have Manuel Quickly, Obi Toppin, Cam Reddish. We traded a couple of other people, so we'd probably want to get rid of Evan Fournier in that trade, just because he plays shooting guard. He's not really a point guard. We would want those minutes for Donovan Mitchell. Uh, Preferably, we would be able to keep Quickly in that. The Jazz probably would just want the younger players. They wouldn't want to take the older ones back in a cap space, so that makes it difficult to match salaries. That being said, I think the Knicks do have the best possible package as far as the other teams, because the other teams that I would see wanting to trade for Donovan Mitchell would be the Wizards. They just gave Bradley Beal that massive extension, and they probably want to get him at least some help. The one thing is that I think the fit would be kind of wonky, and because they're both really shooting guards, and they would probably have to trade a lot of depth, so they'd probably have to get rid of Kuzma. They got KCP, so they're probably telling themselves, well, we just got KCP, right? So, and I don't think the Wizards have nearly as many picks. I'm just gonna Yeah. So the Wizards have 3 future first rounders, one from the Knicks that's top 14 protected in 2026, I believe it is. Or Oh no. I'm sorry. This is the other way around. My bad. Um this is okay. So the Wizards have their pick for 2024 and 2025. And actually they do still have their first round picks for quite a couple of years. So the Wizards do, which I thought they traded more of these to get someone. I don't know who, but I guess the Wizards do have picks. The Wizards actually could be a feasible destination. I just don't think that they have the like the young player that they'd want. Right? They'd probably look for somebody with like really big potential, but like right now, the best young players are probably Kuzma and Casey or Kristaps Porzingis. Did I say KCP earlier? Wow, Porzingis, who injury history. Now, if we look at and now if we really are looking for Donovan Mitchell, like holistically, we do need to point out his playoff stats. His playoff stats are, as you can see, significantly better than his regular season stats. He scored 36 points per game in that bubble season against Donovan Mitchell, I think, or sorry, against Jamal Murray. And as you can see, his efficiency was off the charts. We've seen the peaks of what Donovan Mitchell can be in the playoffs. Problem is, when you're trading for him, you have to realize that in whatever situation he's in, it's going to be slightly different than what it was with Rudy Gobert. He's not a great defender. He's not an active defender. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't lead the league in steals. He's not, locking guys down. But he did show when he was on the Jazz that he could be a system defender, at least earlier, not last season, but earlier when the Jazz were like a number one seed, he was able to funnel people to Rudy Gobert. Granted, you can give him credit where credit is due, and you don't want to overrate that, but that's a valuable skill. It shows like he can play within a system, within a top defense. Granted, it had a defensive player of the year anchoring it, but hey, the same thing is with Golden State. And while not everybody is going to be able to do that to, Rudy Gobert or Draymond Green's level, if you've got a solid defensive big, hey, Donovan Mitchell could be that missing offensive piece. So other teams I think that you've got to look out for, probably the Heat. I don't think the Celtics have anything to give. The Heat, would you trade Donovan Mitchell for Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, a bunch of firsts? I don't know. I he'd probably say yes because like Donovan Mitchell's better than Tyler Hero is right now for sure, and Jimmy Butler is one of the best. I think the Jazz would ask for Bam, which is would they ask for Bam? I'm thinking about it. They got all those unprotected picks. They might just say, "Hey, we're gonna full reset." So they really just want those picks. The young player would be definitely a big ask for them. Like they're gonna ask for it, but Bam might be actually older than they want, right? Because Bam is what 20, 25, 24. No, maybe not. 24 is still kind of young. They could go through 2 years of a reset, and he's 26, and they've got him. I think the main thing to look out for with the Heat is if they're willing to throw in like every pick they can get and maybe get like a third team to throw some picks in. And then maybe they like send Duncan Robinson to the third team and, Tyler Hero and, some other salary filler, which keep in mind the Heat have some really good players on the bench, so they could feasibly, just say, hey, here, take these guys. You could probably get something for them. Here's a bunch of picks. Give us Donovan Mitchell. And as long as it's around Tyler Hero, they might say yes to that. As long as you give them enough picks. And everybody else, I don't really see as having enough assets to get him. Maybe the Raptors, but I don't quite know how he would fit in with the Raptors. He might fit in really well. They've got lots of great defenders. It's tricky. Uh, as far as Western Conference teams, I don't really know if anybody has much. I mean, the Suns, you've got to point out with DeAndre Ayton. Do you really want Ayton? I don't think the Suns have a ton of picks, and that's kind of the problem. Everybody's kind of looking at Donovan Mitchell as if they can get him for similar price as Rudy Gobert, but I think the price for him and what the Jazz want is way higher. And that's going to lead to a non-starter. And it's exactly the same thing that's happening with KD, who's another person that I actually should talk about in this video. Kevin Durant and the Nets front office, they want to keep KD and Kyrie. No duh. No duh. Idiots. What were you expecting? What were you expecting? That everybody would line up and say, here, take our entire franchise for 3 years of a 35-year-old Kevin Durant, 4 years of a 35-year-old Kevin Durant. Like, come on, man. KD doesn't want to go to some franchise. Well, it's not even what KD wants. It's like a franchise doesn't want KD and then nothing else. This isn't like you're trading for Giannis, who's like not 30, or you've got a couple of years. Like, no, this is KD at 35. Like, he wants to win now. And only now you're figuring out that unloading them off is going to be a lost trade and that you already mortgaged the future of the organization. Do not realize this during contract negotiations with Kyrie. Was this not pointed out? If not, Kyrie's agent sucks. And also, if you guys didn't realize it, you're effing morons. So you know what? I have no inclination to be, oh, well, no, the Nets front office sucks. They're stupid. The James Harden trade was, well, I'm not going to hail them for the Harden trade conceptually, but I wasn't a fan of it either way. Either one of them. Like, how does Ben Simmons get past everybody and then have a effed up back and can't play for the whole year? What? Like, why? Like, why? How does that happen? the 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 only thing that undermined this Nets team was the front office's incompetence and injuries. Okay. I went off topic there for a second, but as far as Donovan Mitchell getting traded, I think now that they're listening to trades, I think it's only a matter of time. I did say before in a different video that I thought that they would keep him. Once you start listening to trades, usually it's a very short shelf life for most players, for most star players. So, maybe the Mavericks can pull something out and like throw a bunch of picks. They really need the second guy who can score, and the Mavericks could be that team. That's my dark horse. I don't really think, other than the teams that I've already listed, anybody's really trying to trade for Donovan Mitchell. Obviously the Lakers, but like Lakers, Cavs maybe. I don't think the Hawks have the picks. So really, Knicks, Wizards, Heat, Raptors, and Mavericks, Suns. I don't really think anybody else is even close. I guess you could also mention, the Thunder, the Rockets, the Pistons, the Magic, Pacers. But like, I don't think any of those guys are really trying to go out and get Donovan Mitchell for a bunch of picks. Maybe the Thunder. So those are the teams I've got to look out for. I don't really think anybody else has even remotely enough assets. But hey, man, Donovan Mitchell could be on the move. This is definitely gonna put a halt to The predicting the what the conferences, that is definitely something that I I did too early, and I knew it was too early, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do it 2 videos real quick. I'm gonna come back and do that crap later, because I didn't really think Donovan Mitchell was gonna get moved. I thought the only big shoe to really drop was Ayton. I didn't think KD and Kyrie were gonna get traded, so I thought the only thing we were waiting on was the Ayton trade. And I might be wrong, might have been wrong about that. So thank you for watching. Leave a like and subscribe.